Coach Chambers, your 17th season on the 40 acres will be different from the previous 16. Now, before football players have even put pads on and stepped onto the field at DKR, what's different around here?
Well, obviously, Coach Strong, having him here and new staff, there's a lot of excitement. Reminds me of when I first came here.
You and Coach Strong met years ago when you were a high school coach and
Yeah.
he was on the recruiting trail.
hmm
How do you describe the coach that he's become across these years and the philosophy he brings here?
Well, he's obviously a defensive coach because at that time he was coaching on the defensive side of the ball. Those guys tend to be a little more aggressive, and that's a good thing. And now, being a head coach, you kind of have to understand that I got to be able to obviously be able to deal with the defense, but also with the offense. So you got to be a little bit more balanced.
As the only holdover from the previous staff, what role have you played in introducing this new coaching staff to the way things work around here?
Well, I just thought about when I first came here, there was not anybody because we were all new, and we kind of had to feel our way, just around as far as the players. Obviously, you could put on the tape and look at guys because I can remember I was coaching running backs at the time, and they were telling me about Ricky Williams, and so someone said, hey, well, just put the tape on. So I did, and I was like, wow. But what the tape didn't tell you was what kind of person you were dealing with, and I think that when the new staff came in and being, a guy that was kept here, you were able to kind of fill in some of those blanks.
These coaches say, Coach Strong will be the first to say, that his top priority has been to get to know the players, of course. You know the players. How have they leaned on you as they have gotten to know the new coaches?
Well, I think the fact that one of the things that Coach Strong did was met with each one of them, each and every one of them. I'm talking about walk-ons, all of them. And he met with them, and it was one of those things that once they went in and closed the door, that door stayed closed for a while. So that was a long conversation. And I think just the fact that he reached out and said, hey, I really, really want to get to know you. I know just the guys that I coach, when they obviously got through with their interview with him, they came and and they all had basically the same thing. It was like, wow, it was really impressive. So I thought it was a great move on his part to get to know the players, and then obviously give them an opportunity to get to know him.
What advice have you been able to give the coaching staff in terms of what effort they're making to get to know the players?
Well, the first thing I told them is that, besides being really good athletes, these kids are really good kids. They're not. This is not a group that's going to keep you up all night. They're really, really good guys. Obviously, their families are good families, and these guys, academics is important to them. So that was one of the things that I could tell them. Besides what you see on tape from a football standpoint, obviously these are the other things that go along with these guys.
As spring practices are on the horizon, what are your priorities in that time as this new regime puts its thumbprint on this program?
Well, first of all, being an offensive coach is putting in the new offensive system and getting comfortable with that. The fact that it's a fun offense. It reminds me a lot of some of those Greg Davis's offenses that we had, years ago. But just the fact that it's the multiplicity to it all, which makes it really, really fun, is the fact that a guy can line up at one place and then plug him in at another spot. And so I think that's what guys like. They like the fact that it's exciting. It's not a bland offense.
As Coach Strong has familiarized himself with this place, what's been the most interesting question he's had to come to you for an answer to?
Well, obviously football is very important in this place. I think one of the things that he's talked about is the fact that everybody wants to interview him, is that every time he turns around, somebody wants him to do something. And I just kind of look at him and I just kind of go, yeah, that's kind of the way it is here.